Okay, so please find a date. Uh, okay, so the Hamiltonian will have the kinetic energy of the electron 1, kinetic energy of the electron 2, attraction of the electron. So lot of people said in the previous class potential, potential, potential. You know, potential is a very general term, and as time will pass, if you uh, if you I do not know what should I say, if you go to higher levels, or maybe in this time also, you will see that potential energy has many components, and it is the potential which has the potential to kill us. Every little terms in the potential actually is the bottleneck of today's electronic structure theory, right? So potential has many components, right? It is the little components of the potential which is all about your book. Your book is all about the potential. The today's electronic structure theory is all about a little tiny little portion of the potential, right? So just saying potential is not enough. So potential means, in this case, potential means the electron nuclear attraction potential. That is also potential, right? So we have two kinds of potential in this case: electron nuclear attraction potential of the two electrons for the one nucleus, and also we have a potential which is the repulsion energy of the two electrons, right? So, and I do not know, maybe in this semester or in some other classes, you will see that this 1 over R12 will be further broken into several pieces. That is what is all about. Okay. So, let us not get into this. So, we will write 1 over R12 as 1 over R12. We will not further break into pieces. Okay. Minus, let us follow the notation, twice ME delta 1 square minus H cross square twice ME delta 2 square. So these are the kinetic energy of the two electrons, and then minus Z E square over R1 minus Z E square over R2 and E square over, this is the complete electronic Hamiltonian for the helium atom. Now I want to use the perturbation theory. What should be my H0? Very quickly. Anybody wants to make comment? Very quickly. Okay. So obviously this is not the something that I can solve easily. So I am looking for a H0 portion. So what is the true wave function of this? The Schrodinger equation of this can be written like this: H psi is equal to E psi. But the problem is that function. What is the function I R1? I is a function of vector R1, vector R2, electronic coordinates. That means psi, this is psi only, R1, theta 1, phi 1, R2, theta 2, phi 2. So this is a 6-dimensional function. Okay. So I am looking for H1. I want to write H1 as this guy plus this guy. So that is my H0 plus H prime. What is the meaning of H0? So H0 is actually, now let us see H0, look at this. So this is an Hamiltonian, this portion, there should be a delta 2 square, sorry. This guy and this guy, this guy and this guy. Let us show in some other color. Why do I do that? Because this Hamiltonian minus H cross square over twice ME delta, grad 1 square minus ZE square over R1 is actually the Hamiltonian correspond to a hydrogen-like atom. It is not hydrogen atom. That is the reason I am discussing this problem. You have confusion about the hydrogen atom problem. So, but it is not hydrogen atom. It is a hydrogen-like atom. Okay. So I will write that as H1. You can give an H1 and H0 2. What is the meaning of this? 1 and 2 are only dummy index. right? There is no point, there is no purpose in writing Me1 to describe electron 1 and Me2 because the electrons are indistinguishable, right? So mass of the electrons is same wherever you find it. So this, as you can see, that this and this Hamiltonian is actually H01 and H02. I write it for because just to for our bookkeeping. It is for our bookkeeping. It is not for anything else. H01 plus H02, right? H01 and H02 are exactly identical. You can see that, and it has to be because what happens for electron 1 must also happen for electron 2. Right. So that is why electron 1 and electron 2 are identical, and that is also reflected in the Hamiltonian. So I can write H01 is minus H cross square. One of them will write twice ME delta 1 square minus ZE square over R1. And similarly for H02. Okay. Now, what is this Hamiltonian? Why did I choose this? Because I know the solution of this Hamiltonian. Right. Now, what is the solution of this Hamiltonian? Because that is the most important criteria of choosing the unperturbed Hamiltonian, right? So, what is the solution? Who can say in terms of the eigenfunctions and eigenvalues? So, I can erase this portion as the original Hamiltonian is defined. So, H is equal to H0 plus H prime with the understanding that, and what is H0? H0 is the other term E square over R12, which is my perturbation. Okay. So I have a two Hamiltonian. So what is the solution of the unperturbed problem? So unperturbed problem I can write in this fashion. So psi 0 means 0th order R1 theta 1 phi 1 R2. I can give a semicolon R2 theta 2 phi 2 equal to psi 0 R1 vector R2 vector. What should I write this for? Who can say? Ashish, can you say? Who can answer this? What is my psi 0? The zeroth order wave function. And appropriately, I also write to write the E0. What are these two things? I am asking for you. I am asking you the class. You can write in the chat box, or who can say? Piansu, I see you for the first time. Can you answer? No? Okay. Surajit. Very rare species, huh? Shravani Khan. Who can answer? Manish, you can answer? मनीष अरे इतना तो बताओ कोई हेलो ओके unperturbed wave function that I know, but what should I write? Unperturbed wave function is known to me, right? So how do I know it? That is what I want to say. Unperturbed wave function and energy is known to me because they are coming from the solution of H psi 0 is equal to E psi 0, H psi 0 is equal to E 0 psi 0. I think we gave this. So where is the solution? Nobody can answer. Tahiti, can you answer? I'm sorry to take everybody's name. I do hope that somebody in the class can answer. You know, this is the only thing that is the bare minimum that you should know.
Sir, the H01 will be the hydrogen atom hydrogen atom wave function. So
And?
And for R1 we get a hydrogen atom wave function, and for R2 also, I mean the 801 and 802 both.
R1 means this R1?
Yes, sir.
R1 is the independent variable, right? Why do you
Yes.
worry about R1?
Uh,
Right? R1 is the radius, right? So hydrogen atom wave function, that is right. So psi 0, R1, R2, my Hamiltonian is H0 plus H, sorry, H0 is this, H01 plus H02, right? Right?
yes, sir.
So what should be my psi 0 and E0? Psi 0 and E0 comes from which H?
Sir, the total 80.
There is only one H0. Total
Yes,
H0 means this one,
yes.
right?
From this one, the psi 0 will come,
Psi 0
and
and
E0 will
E0.
come. Yes.
So that is right. So what is that? That is what I am asking. So if you solve this Hamiltonian, if you cannot, if you have difficulty in understanding this point, we should not move too fast. You know, H0 psi is equal to E0 psi, right? That is what is the equation. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So now you tell me, I have written H0 there for you. H0 has two components. So you can write H01 plus H02. Yes or
H.
no?
Yes, sir.
For the first electron and for the second electron, right?
Yes.
Psi 0 I can write 1 2 is equal to E0 psi 1 2. I can write this. Now what is the solution of this equation? That is what I am asking. Because this is my starting point, right? If I have a confusion in my starting point, does it make any sense? Okay. Bolo, so what is the solution? This is your H0, right? H01, H psi is equal to E psi agar karoge, what do you get from here? You already said that hydrogen atom. So,
Yes, sir. The 1s orbital of no. We get
anybody can write in the chat box while she is answering. See, if I am sorry to make these statements, I mean, if you do not understand the perturbation theory, the basic of the basics, it will be ridiculous to pass from IISER Kolkata. You'll be caught by the private university and college students. So somebody please answer. You have tried, but I am asking for a clear-cut, complete answer. Advija, can you answer this question? Shurbi, can you answer? Who can answer? It's an open to everybody. Please volunteer. Madhur, Manish, Monalisha, Rohan. I have taken everybody's name, I guess. Anmai, Shiv Kumar.
Can you repeat that question once more?
Bolo.
Can you repeat that question?
What can I repeat? It is already 20 minutes I have been speaking about this only. What is the solution of, what is the H0 and E0? Sorry, what is my psi 0 and E0? That is the beginning point of your first correct perturbation theory, right?
So psi 0 we can write two separate functions, psi 1 of R1, theta 1 and phi 1. I mean, and the psi 2, psi 1 is a combination of psi 1 and psi 2, psi 0, I mean.
So what will happen to E0?
E0. So that also we will write E1 plus E2.
E1 plus E2. What is E1?
E1 will be the energy from the Hamiltonian one, which we will take.
What is E1?
E1 is the energy which we will get from solving H1.
So how do you get it? Yes, I know that. So what is the answer? If I ask you 9 into 3 is how much? Are you going to tell me that I have to multiply 9 by 3? That's an answer which a second year infant gives, right? You will answer 27, isn't it?
K by n square or something. I mean,
तो
in
क्या है
form of
एनर्जी बताओ? एनर्जी क्या है बताओ? What should be
K
the
by
energy?
n square.
And okay, what is psi 0? If your Hamiltonian is written like this, I'm so sorry, you know.
Psi 0 will be psi 1 into psi 2.
So psi 0, 1, 2 is equal to, that's right. So psi 0, 1 into psi 0, 2, because you have written this as a product function, right? If your Hamiltonian can be written as a sum of two Hamiltonians, that means it is like an independent particle. Two electrons are not interacting with each other, right? Then your wave function can be written as a product and energy can be written as a sum. These are the only things that I wanted you to understand, right? But there is a very interesting point here. You know, ये सब बोलने में तो बहुत आसान है, energy, wave function. But when you have to understand, there are khitki, I do not know what is the term, you know, there are a lot of confusion. The thing that you should realize is that these energies, these wave functions are completely artifact. That is why I am raising this issue. Your H0, that H0 that you have written, that H0 is not necessarily a physical system. You need to understand, in a class like quantum mechanics, you need to have equations and you also need to have a little bit of imagination, and you should always go back and forth. One equation, then understand the physics or chemistry. Then one little physics and chemistry, you go back to equations. It is a zigzag motion. You just cannot be one-sided. Just writing this makes no sense. But H0 has no meaning. You see that? You have written a 2, that means you have put the words into the equations. Equations are useless objects until you put words into them. What is the meaning of this equation? This equation means nothing. You see that H0 is describing a system of two electrons, but nothing else. You see that H0 means the kinetic energy of this electron and minus Z over Jd square by R1. That means this interaction. It is only, so this is the nucleus, this is the electron 1, this is the electron 2, right? So your H0 is representing only this portion of the problem. Does it make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. H02 is representing only the kinetic energy of this electron and its attraction to the nucleus. So only this portion, right? So that is not helium atom, but it is also an unphysical system. But the point to be realized is that for your practical purposes, you can actually choose an H0 or an unperturbed system which may be unphysical. That is what I am trying to focus. It is not necessary that your H0 has to be physically grounded. But for mathematical convenience, we will take this as an H0 valid because the solution is known to be. So H0 is unperturbed states are completely determined for mathematical simplification. It may or may not have any physical reality, which in this case happens to be the case, that it has no physical reality because this electron and this electron definitely has an interaction which I am ignoring in the H0, and that obviously is the part of H prime. Abhi clear hai? Is that clear to everybody? Tahiti, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So we can now write H0 as the total Hamiltonian the H psi 0 as a product function of the psi 0 1 and psi 0 2, and total energy of the unperturbed system as an energy of the, so I can write E0, I guess we can give this is equal to E10 plus E20. But I'm surprised that nobody is interested to tell me what is the energy. Energy of this is minus Z square over 1 over N1 square plus 1 over N2 square into E square by twice A0. That's the energy. So you see that it is not hydrogen atom. It is not a hydrogen atom because the Z is not 1. It is Z is 2. Okay. Okay. And what is my psi 0? Psi 0 is psi 0 1 2 is here clearly. So I can give a function psi 0 1 into psi 0 2. Okay. So that is 1 over root over pi Z over A0, Z over A0 to the power 3 e to the power minus ZR over A0. That is my H, that is my psi 1, psi 0 1, and similarly for psi 0 2, 1 over root over pi Z over A0, 3 by 2 and e to the power minus ZR over A0. You can, if you wish, because we have given 1 and 2, you can give ZR1. It doesn't make any difference to you because two electrons are completely identical because they are under the same Hamiltonian. Just 1 and 2 are labels, right? So it is eventually, if you give 1, 2 over here, you should give ZR1 and ZR2. That's all right. Okay. So this is my energy. So this is my unperturbed wave function energy for this problem, right? So now I go for the first order correction. So let us see what is the energy in the ground state. So E1S2. So of course I am treating the ground state. So E1S2. Now I put the values for corresponding to the 1s. That means electron 1 is also in the 1s orbital. Electron 2 is also in the 1s orbital, right? So I will put the values of 1 and Z is equal to 2 over here. So I will get, it is minus Z square into 2 into E square by twice A0. Okay. So that gives me, you put the values of Z is equal to 2 and work it out, minus 108.8 electron volt. That is what I get the, so that means if I completely ignore my electron repulsion, abhi tak electron repulsion has not come into the picture, right? You should read some books. Even if you are not coming to the book class, that's all right. But read some books, you know, or जो lecture जो बन रहा है वो भी सुन सकते हो. It doesn't matter whichever way. Learn whichever way you can. That's all it counts. Okay. So, so my energy. Look at this. So if I take the total energy should be what? E0 plus E1 plus E2, that is the premise of perturbation theory. But if I take the zeroth order correction perturbation theory, means no perturbation has been imposed as yet, right? So that gives me an energy of minus 108.8 electron volt. That's one answer. Now I want to use perturbation theory. What is the perturbation theory? That means I want to look for the first order correction to energy. What should that be? Can somebody say? What should that be? First order correction, sorry. E prime, E1. E1 should be, so remember E1 is NN prime. So psi 0, H prime, psi 0. and psi 0 is nothing but psi 0, 1, 2 that I wrote, H prime psi 0, sorry. Okay, that's what I can do, and I can write it, I think, okay, maybe just for the, let us write, okay. So if you do it, pi square A06, every good book will discuss this problem in its own way. So there is no need to, so this will be a 6-dimensional integration because you have R1 and 2, electron 1 has R1 theta 1 phi 1, electron 2 has R2 theta 2 phi 2, right? So I do need to write the 6 integrals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with appropriate these things, and e to the power minus 2z1, sorry, 2zor1 over a0, and e to the power, because you have psi star psi, you have a phi 1s2 here, you have a phi ns1 here. Phi ns1s1, phi 1s1, real number, so it becomes 2. Phi 1s2, 2, phi 1s2, 2, right? So that will also become minus 2 z r2 over a0. And then you have the perturbation portion, e square over r12, right? And then you have the volume element. So r1 square, r2 square, maybe it is better to write the 1, 2 kind of stuff. r1 square sine theta 1 d theta 1 d phi 1, r2 square sine theta 2 d theta 2 d phi 2. So if you work it out, that will give you the final answer as 5, this can be done analytically, 5z over 8 e square over, this is something which has been posted in your assignment. There are many ways to do this integral. You can choose whichever route you want to do, that's fine. So, but at the end of the day, I get an E1, the first order correction to energy, that will give you the number. So it will become 10 by 4, okay, into 13.606, because e square by a0, half e square by a0 is 13.6. Half e square by a0 is 13.606 EV. So this gives me 34.0 EV, electron volt. So that means if I write first order correction to the energy and then this 34.0 electron volt, that gives me minus 74.8 electron volt. Okay, so if the perturbation theory is applied to the first order in the ground state of helium, okay, I get an energy minus 74.8 electron volt. The true energy of the system, okay, that experimental value of energy 70 minus 79.0 electron volt. You see that it is far from the correct number and it is in error by 5.3%. Okay. So, but it has improved from your 0th order minus 108 electron volt to you have come to minus 74.5. So it has gotten better. So I can now continue to do the second order correction. Okay, second order correction, if you do that, you know that second order correction, in order to do that, you need to have a knowledge of the first order wave function, right? And remember, there is an infinite sum in the bottom, in the denominator. So that means you need to have a knowledge about all the bound states and also the continuum states. So nobody has been able to do it so far, the true second order correction to the energy. Okay, because if you do that, it will be an important component. So you can do that, but we know very close results, approximate. Second order energy correction cannot be done as simple as that, because you have an infinite summation with respect to the bound states and continuum state. That means not only psi 0, you have to know all the unbound, all the unperturbed states spectrum. That means in this case, though, you could do only psi 0, right? But you will require all the psi n's, psi 0, 0, that means n is equal to 0 at the 0th level. But you need all the knowledge of psi n, all the states, all the unperturbed states, not just one ground state. Samjhe? And not only bound states, but you also need to know the continuum states here. Right? So that is why, but very accurately it has been pursued. So that gives you E2 becomes, if you do that much accurate, so second order correction is minus 4.3 electron volt. Second order correction is minus 4.3 electron volt. You can see that it is getting close to the correct values, but it is still not enough. And those of you think that these numbers are very close, chalo isko le lete hain. As a chemistry student, you should think again, because in chemistry we are talking about there is something called chemical accuracy. You know, all the reactions that you are doing or you are going to do in your life, you know, they demand something called chemical accuracy. That means the results must be correct by a 1,000th of the electron volt. Samjhe? Otherwise your thermochemistry and all this study is useless, because you have delta G, delta H, delta S. That will be a difference of two very small numbers. You understand what is the challenge in chemistry? So if you ignore this, you are ignoring the most important parts. Okay. So that is why these numbers will not give you any interesting results. But we can also pursue, which is difficult, but it can also be done. 0.1 electron volt is the third correction. Sorry. Did I use E1? Did I use? No E. So E3, the third order correction, you can see that how small is that number. So up to the third order, so E0 plus E1 plus E2 plus E3, it gives you minus 79.0 electron volt, which agrees with 0.1 electron volt of the experimental value. Trust me, if you do not maintain this chemical accuracy, na, ये तुम्हारा जो transition metal chemistry और जो electron, your magnetic properties, I'm sure many of you are going to study your thesis will contain or papers will contain this kind of stuff, you know, electronic properties, magnetic properties. So these are all these interesting colors and magnetic effects that you are going to produce in your experiment is happening because of this little difference. So 0.1 electron volt is still the deficiency. So that can be further discussed. You know, at this point we leave this topic. So this was one illustration of the perturbation theory in the real case. You remember all the earlier discussion on the earlier examples of perturbation theory were for the model system. So I decided to do it one for the real case. So helium ground state is a classic case for that. Okay, so that concludes this example. Let us now discuss one little more aspect of this perturbation theory, and then we will go to the many electron problems. We still have not discussed the general many electron problem, which we are going to do it in the next class. But in this class, we will discuss a very interesting, remember, so perturbation theory, I told you, so there are three broad things. One is the non-degenerate perturbation theory, which is what we just discussed. There is a degenerate perturbation theory, and there is a time dependent perturbation theory. These are really important topics, but I guess I will skip this because we do not have much time. Then our many electron problem we may not be able to start. That is the reason I am skipping. So, but your time dependent perturbation theory you might have used in some places, especially in spectroscopy, it will always be used. So good students should read it, and if you want I can give you some assignments, but I guess we just have to leave this because there is not much time. We'll have to do some chemistry, okay? Chemistry means molecules, structures. Okay, so, but one thing I'll do it, that, see, perturbation theory, naturally you understand that depending on how many levels you have in your system, perturbation theory can be very exciting, but it can also be manageable, it can also be unmanageable. Because if you have, especially with the higher order perturbation theory can be unmanageable. So we discussed a very basic, these things we have derived, we have found expressions, but there are certain general features of perturbation theory. You know, very simple general features of perturbation theory that can be illustrated by considering a two-level system. Two-level systems are very important model systems in many branches of physics and chemistry. So that's why two-level system means you have only two levels. You do not have any more level. But you will be surprised to know that a lot of things in this world can be modeled by a two-level problem, especially in optics and many places, okay? So I want to understand the perturbation theory when applied to this two-level problem. It's a model two-level problem. Two-level problem can also be used very easily. You can see that it can also be an interesting aspect in the spin discussion because you have only up and down spin, right? So it's a classic two-level problem. Okay, so I want to presume that this is known to me. Let us use the notation psi m0 em. I don't want to give em, psi m0. What it means, m goes from 1 to 2. My unperturbed system is governed by this Hamiltonian, where m is equal to 1 to 2. And this is my unperturbed Hamiltonian, the unperturbed eigenfunctions, unperturbed energy, unperturbed eigenfunction. Okay? And I now want to understand the perturbation, what happens to the role of perturbation to this. At the end of the day, what I want to understand is that this, how this two state can be perturbed. What happens to the eigenfunctions and energy in terms of some physical things, you know, picture. Expressions will derive. We have already derived. You can put those expressions into practice and make 1 and 2, that kind of stuff. You can do that, but we can very simply derive some of the very useful stuff. So my psi, so this is my perturbed system, right? So I want to write psi. Remember, in the Rayleigh-Schrödinger perturbation theory, we actually used a thing like this. So this was what it means, the unperturbed solution, unperturbed wave function, I am writing it as a linear combination of the linear combination of the unperturbed states psi 1 0 and psi 2 0. Psi 1 0 and psi 2 0 are against the solutions of this equation which are known to me. Okay? So you write in this equation H A1 psi 1 0 plus A2 psi 2 0 is equal to E A1 psi 1 0 plus A2 psi 2 0. So that means you can write A1 H psi 1 0 minus E psi 1 0 plus A2 H psi 2 0 minus E psi 2 0. Just rearrange. So that means I can write A1 into H minus E psi 1 0. I can give this or not this. A2 H minus E psi 2 0. I can write this equation. So I can now pre-multiply by the bra1 and bra2 and then write the two equations. Can you please do that? So pre-multiply by a bra1. So let us now simplify. So this equation we can just simply write by 1. Let us denote this 1 and 2. That means ket 1 unpatterned, so that we don't have to write so many things. Right? So you can do this p multiplication and integration over whole space. So I can do that. So I can write A1 into H minus E 1 plus 1 A2 H minus E 2 is equal to 0. So that what 1 I can bring the A1 so I can bring A1 for my convenience. So 1 H1 minus E of 1 1 plus A2 1 H2 minus E 1 2 is 0. What happens to this? Please see this. I can make this unperturbed states to be orthogonal and orthonormalized. So I can write, so A1, H11, I am giving a notation psi M0, H psi M0 is equal to HMM. What is my H? H is the H0. Where did I give 0? Maybe here, I do not know. H0 plus H prime. Okay, so that is my complete Hamiltonian. Don't mistake. So A1 into H on 1 minus this I can write as 1 because psi M0, sorry, psi 1 0, psi 1 0 is 1 minus E plus A2 H12, this I can write minus E12 is 0, so that is 0. Okay, so if you do that for the 2, so can you please work it out what will happen to if I use this analogous exercise for pre-multiplication by 2? Just do it and tell me what is going on so that I can write it there. What will happen? A11, sorry, A1 H21 minus A1 H21 plus A2 E is equal to 0. That's great. So A1, sorry, so A1 H21 plus A2 H22 minus E is 0. Very good. So I can now take these two equations . Okay. So the condition that this pair of equations, The conditions that the pair of equations will have non-trivial solutions is what? What should be the conditions that the I have a non-trivial solutions? What is the condition? What is the condition? The determinant? The determinant should vanish, okay? So H11 minus E and H22, H12, H21, H22 minus E is 0. I can break this and eventually I can expand the determinant to write this quadratic equation half H11 plus H22 plus a minus H11 minus H22 square plus 4 H12 H21 and half. This is my solution, the E plus and E minus I have given. So never forget to look at the equations and connect to your system. That's the most important thing in science. There are people who can write tons of equations, but they have no idea what is going on in the chemistry. And there are tons of people who can do lot of stuff with chemistry, but they have no idea what is going on inside them, the equations, right? So you need to have an understanding of both these things. So what is the meaning of this equation? What is E plus A minus? What is E plus E minus eventually? E plus E minus is actually the part of, after you have written that psi as a linear combination of psi 1 0 plus psi 2 0. There are only two states. So I have written it as a complete orthonormal set. Determinant is 0. Very good. Thank you. So what is my E plus E minus? E plus E minus is actually a measure of the perturbation which is going to happen. But before I can make any comment about H general nature of the E plus and E minus, you see that I am completely at a loss to deal with this equation because it requires me to understand certain matrix elements. H11, H22, H12, H21. So let us understand that. So H11, what is H11? I can write H110 is 1, H1, that means 1, H0 plus H1. Never misunderstand that. So I can write H prime or something like this, 1. Or I can just write 1 because I have only 1, so I can just write. So I can write 1 H0 1 plus 1 H1. So this is like H prime, you should not confuse this. So that means this guy is what? I can use this E1, the Hermitian property of this guy, 1 H0. So this is a E1 1, okay, and 1 1 which is 1 plus, so E1 into 1 1 plus. Now I have this term. So now I make an assumption, okay. I want to say that, okay, let us see the special case where diagonal matrix elements are 0. That means special case. What is special case? You will see that this special case is not so special actually. It's a very common case which can be applied to many places, right? So, but I want to say that what is the notation? H1 1 prime is equal to H2 2 1 is equal to 0. So the diagonal elements of this matrix elements, this guy, not the total, not the 0, only this guy is 0. So that means I am left with E1. I make this, remember this, okay? So I am having something for the H22. If you work it out, it will also be like this, right? Because you will also have 2H1 2, which I have said that to be 0. So you will also have only E2, right? So H1 1 done, H2 2 done, H1 1 done, H2 2 done, H1 2 H1. What is H1 2? H12 is equal to H1 H0 plus H1 2. Okay, so I can write that 1 H02 plus 1. Okay, but this guy, you see that you can use psi 1 a psi 2 is equal to h psi 1 psi 2, h0 psi 1 0 is 1. Okay, 1. So that means h0 psi 1 0 is e1 0 psi 1 0. That means e1 0 1, e1 0 1 and 2. That means it is orthonormal, so it is 0. Right? So this guy is 0. That means I am left with 1 h1 2. So this I want to write as H121. So that means my H121, sorry, H12 and H, then I can use the Hermitian property of this H12 will be H21. So that means eventually I will write that H12 is equal to H11 is equal to 1, H1 is 1, and so H is H2. So that means at the end of all this, write this as an H. I want to write this as H121 square. What happens to this equation? So let us see. So, okay. So E plus, fine, write it here. This as half. Now this has been E1 plus a minus E1 minus E2 square plus 4 H2 to 1. So write everything as epsilon. So I can give a symbol where epsilon square okay. So this is a very general expression. You can see that apart from that little thing, we have not assumed anything. Okay. So now what happens if there is no perturbation? Can you work it out? If there is no perturbation, what happens to E plus or minus? That is the question. What will happen? Very quickly. No perturbation means? What is the meaning of no perturbation in this equation? How do I simplify this? Anybody? No perturbation means? What will happen to this equation? Yes. Koi bolo? Manish, what will happen to this expression if there is no perturbation? Somsekhar, epsilon term will vanish. Epsilon term will vanish. Great. So then what happens? Can you simplify? Epsilon term will vanish, of course, because that is the only place where the perturbation entered into the picture. E1, E2s are unperturbed wave function, right? So what will happen if epsilon is equal to 0? Then what becomes to your E plus and E minus? That is the question. Nobody can work out? Please work it out. Somsekar, Sarkar, I see you for the first time almost. Everything okay? Somsekar? Okay. What will happen to E plus and E minus? Shurbi, can you say? You said that.
Yes, sir.
Bolo?
So E plus will be 3 by 2 E1.
Really? And what about E minus?
Minus, no, there will be both the terms. 3 by 2 E1 minus half E2, and E minus will be minus half E1 plus 3 by 2 E2.
But how are you working? I'm sorry. This is a square, right? E1
Yes, sir,
minus
but
E2.
it's
That there is
but
a
it
half,
also,
right?
yes, sir.
So there is a plus or minus sign. You can take the plus sign.
Yes, sir.
So what you will get half E1 plus E2 plus, oh, there should be half actually. Wait a second. I think I missed a half. Yes, yes. Okay. That's why you got a strange answer. Okay, okay. So, okay. So if you do that, so there will be no 3 by 2 and nothing. Now you can see that it is actually E1 and this is actually E2. Right? Right?
Yes, sir.
So now you see that you did not have, if you remove the perturbation, your E plus E minus actually correspond to the unperturbed. E1, E2 has nothing but the unperturbed energies. Remember, H0 psi M0 is equal to EM. We did not give a 0 over here, psi M0. You can give, but so this is just the, and which is what should be the case. Okay? So in the next class, we will start from here and illustrate some very general aspects of perturbation theory in this little system, and then we'll move on to the many electron system. Okay? In the next class, we'll start the spin. So I request all of you to read the Pauli exclusion principle and antisymmetry and that kind of stuff. Okay? Okay. So,
Sir,
Bolo.
regarding the class test, we
Yes.
were thinking if we can have it this Friday.
You want to do it in the Friday? Acha, when
Yes.
you want to do?
Sir, in the evening sometime.
Sometimes means is okay. Just hold on a second. I will confirm you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. If I am here, because I cannot take the class test from my home, I have to take it from the campus. So if I stay here, definitely will do it. Okay.
Oh, okay, sir.
And this Wednesday we are going to have the tutorial, right?
Yes, sir. Thursday, sir. Yeah, Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday. Yes, sir.
Wednesday, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So okay, I think that's great. So I'll communicate to you in the WhatsApp. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay then. So bye bye. Unless there is any question.